Right, welcome to ShrimpNet, the podcast brought to you by the Shrimps Trust. Thanks for listening, stroke watching, to this, the third instalment for the 23-24 season. Joining us later with all things off the field is commercial manager Martin Thomas. But meanwhile, myself and Joel will gracefully kick on with the on-field stuff. Safe to say, Joel, Mansfield Town at Field Mill, not quite the performance that we wanted, not quite the result we expected. I think there's been a bit of a knee-jerk reaction. I understand people who've paid the money and gone there and seen us very, very underperform. But we were tipping Mansfield as being there or thereabouts, weren't we? So it was no real surprise to find that they've got a lot of experience. Nigel Clough's assembled a really good depth squad there. He's taken 2.5, 3 seasons to do it, as he's acquired players as they become available. He's got a very, very useful forward line and a useful experienced midfield, as well as a useful experienced back four. And I think in the end, that's what's done for us, because we had an average age of 23.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think, like you say, they're a really good side. And I remember going over, when we went over the squad list last week and just looking at the quality and experience that they had in that squad, you can see why. Well, actually, you know what? I mean, you can look at the bookies' odds, they're not actually quite tipped as high as they may have been in recent years. But I think that may be a little bit of just because they've kind of fallen at the playoff hurdle quite a lot over the last few years. But I think if you look at this squad that they've got in comparison to recent teams they've had, it's really, really good. It's probably, and to us, watching their performance on Saturday, they're one of the better League Two sides I've seen in recent years, to be honest. I thought they were fantastic. I thought Nigel Clough likes to play that diamond shape. And
yeah, they moved it really quickly.
They moved it
really quick.
The way they passed the ball around was really nice, and it was much more purposeful than a team that we played on Tuesday night. And had a bit more zest about it. But I think obviously you're away from home as well. I think there's a few things that have combined in that performance. Obviously, as individual players, we've probably underperformed a bit. I think tactically, we went for a 3-5-2. I get why Derek did it. They've got a big front line, big front two basically in Akins and Reece Oakes, or could have been Jordan Barry. Maybe we wanted an extra centre back to help deal with that. We had Love, and then we had that Love coming into midfield. He did a man marking job on Keeler Dunn, and I thought for the most part he did okay. But then obviously, look, he's a quality player, Keeler Dunn. He spins away from Donald on the touchline, wins the free kick. And that's where the first goal comes from. They're good players, and sometimes they'll punish you, and you have one slip up and they'll punish you sometimes. And that's kind of what has happened. And I think ultimately, look, what we've tried to do is we've tried to have it feels like we've tried to have the extra man at the back and do the man marking job on Keeler Dunn. But tactics, I think it's a Rafa Benitez quote this. I think it's something about tactics are basically like a blanket that's a little bit too short. You either cover your feet, but you've got your kind of chest and your shoulders exposed, or you pull your blanket right up to your chin, and you got your feet.
And your feet are cold.
And the feet we had exposed in this situation was they had they have 4 players in centre midfield, and we only had 3, and they were. I think that's what largely contributed to them having such a high percentage of the ball in that first half, particularly. They had about 80% possession, and I think that wasn't quite by design as it was against Notts County. I think a lot of that was just they had that extra man in midfield, and they found it. And they kept on having players to be able to move the ball around us, and they did it with good quality and good purpose. And they've deservedly won the game, and fair enough. It's how it goes. Look, we've gone to a really good side away from home. We've tried something a little bit differently tactically. It hasn't quite worked out. You know what? No. Even if we got the tactics spot on, there's still a reasonable chance they would have beaten us because of the quality they have. But that's football. Sometimes that's how it goes, and. Yeah, I think there was maybe a bit of an overreaction. It wasn't a great performance, but it happens. We move on. And as we saw on Tuesday night, which I'm sure we'll come to in a second, we performed fantastically well. So, it's 4 points from the opening 3 games. That's all right. There's a whole season ahead. It's 1 game, bad performance. I think
it's funny, isn't it? Because looking at the results from the other night, obviously. We did mention a couple of weeks ago that Gillingham will be there or thereabouts, and sure enough, they've had quite a magic start. They've had 3 from 3, but they're the only ones, which just goes to prove that everybody can beat everybody else, doesn't it?
Exactly, and maybe on another day we'd have turned up, I don't know, a bit of food poisoning in the Mansfield squad. They're not feeling quite right. Nigel Clough decides to do something weird tactically. I don't know, and we beat them on the day, or we just have a really mega performance, And there's there's lots of random things that can affect a result. Obviously, over the long term course of the season, you'll see who's really the best. But on the day, sometimes these things happen, and it wasn't a great performance. And
it was. Look, it was. I'm happy to say it was. We were poor. We were really poor. But given the fact that we spent most of the game chasing our tails, and we were, up until it's funny because I was saying if we'd have got in at half time, I'd have been quite happy with that and then change it up in the second half. But we didn't, and that sort of kind of changes the game, doesn't it, a little bit when you sort of,
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting. I thought we started to get to grips with things in the first 10 minutes of the first half. I thought we worked out. I think we were finding the balls into our front two a little bit better. And then obviously we changed shape. I think we went to a diamond to match up with Mansfield, but in that transition, switching Love onto the side of the diamond and Jan coming into CDM role, into that midfield role, we've lost Keeler Dunn, and he's gotten away, and he's had a free one at the defence, and that's how it goes sometimes. I think in that kind of minute of reshuffle when we've changed formation, Keeler Dunn's found a bit of space. He's driven in towards goal. We've not had the man to cover him, and he's popped it away in the bottom corner. And
good finish.
Good finish. Calm, kept his cool, and that's football sometimes, and it happens. And like I said, we've shown on Tuesday night that hopefully it is just a one-off, and we tried something a bit different. We didn't quite play that well, and we lost to a really, really good team. And
I think, again, I said it at the start. I think we've got so many young players, particularly in our attacking threat comes from JJ and Blocks and Adamea and Mellon, and they haven't got a lot of experience at this level. Probably the most experienced one, looking at his list, the list of performances, is Adamea. But it just wasn't sticking. It was they were high pressing. We were rushing our passing. Our touch wasn't great. Blah blah blah. And it's a similar complaint. If I use that as a segue into the Notts County game on Tuesday night, a lot of people were complaining. I was really, really happy with the point. I thought we nullified them, and the longer the game went on, I thought we looked the stronger, and they'd run out of ideas by the end. But obviously, the first 45 minutes, they kept the ball really well. But I think we'd sussed out how Derek did a good job in stopping them playing. By the second half, the keeper was the one who was doing all the distributing, and his distribution was bloody awful. And so we'd sussed them, and Derek brought, this is my opinion, that Derek brought subs on, and they made a slight difference. And Mickey Mellon could have maybe snatched it. Maybe he doing the right thing was laying it back to, he was steaming in at the D to smash it over the bar or have a go himself. I didn't begrudge it because they all put a shift in Tuesday night. I was really proud of them, given the experience that they've got and the money they've spent and the experience that we've got.
Yeah, I mean, with that Mellon chance, I thought he did fantastically well to buy the little bit of room onto his left foot because he's right-footed, and that's where the defenders expected him to go, and he's just given him a little swerve, moved it onto his left. It's a difficult finish, and it's just gone wide, but fantastic bit of work from the box from him, I thought. But overall, like you say, it was a plan, and we had a good plan for how to deal with the threats that Notts County have, and we executed it really well. It was great thinking from Derek to set things up that way. It was great execution from the players. Derek can come up with the best tactical master plan that anybody's ever thought of ever, but it doesn't really matter if the players don't carry it out. But the players carried out things out perfectly, I thought, on Tuesday night. So yeah, it was a fantastic performance. And I've got to talk about the goalkeeper thing, because a lot of people around me were moaning about the goalkeeper having the ball. I've seen a few people moan online about the goalkeeper being allowed to carry up the pitch, but he was carrying up the pitch, getting towards the centre circle, thinking, crap, I've not got anybody to pass to. I'm just going to hit it long. And 9 times out of 10, it was going out of play, or Faust was just winning it. And
exactly,
that was quite clearly our plan, and it was working. I think Notts County had that chance very early on. I think before the game had settled with McGoldrick, they missed it.
Yeah.
Start the second half, they've come out like a bit of a rocket basically, and they've had a good 15-minute spell. But we've ridden that, and for the rest of the game, we were very, very comfortable. I thought we were comfortable for. I'd say
Yeah, I agree.
I'd say for about 70 minutes of that game, we were incredibly comfortable, and we had a few patches. I think particularly towards the end, we were probably looking a bit more likely the team who were going to win it. To be honest, we had a few chances. Kemi Smith had a chance. Obviously, Millen's had a chance. We've had that corner right at the death where it was headed back across, and nobody could quite get back on the end of it. And yeah, look, with closing the goalkeeper down, we did it sometimes, but when we did it at the right time. We did it when, say, like Mellon would be he'd be cutting off the goalkeeper's left hand side. He have a centre back behind him. He'd know over his shoulder that if he runs towards the goalkeeper can't pass it back through him. And if we had players marked on the right hand side of the pitch, then that's the time to press, because then it forces him to go long or try and turn you and fail. But those are the times that Mellon or one of our wingers would press. But generally, we let the keeper have the ball, because if we stepped away, then we open up another centre back and they can pass the ball around us. Get the ball to a centre back or a midfielder, get it into their feet. They run into midfield and cause a problem. And that's what Notts County want us to do. They want us to kind of come out of them, and they want to play the nice little triangles around us, and then get a man spare in midfield to push on at the pitch. And we didn't let them do that. Pressing is not about everybody running really fast at whoever's got the ball. That's 10-year-olds pressing. These are professional footballers. And yeah, I thought they, for a bunch of 19-year-olds basically that is our front line, they carried out their pressing duties incredibly mature, very, very maturely, very smartly, and with a lot of energy as well. And it was really, really pleasing to see. And like I said, I thought we really nullified them. We made them very lukewarm.
I repeat, the longer the game went on, the better we looked, because I thought they looked like they were getting frustrated. They made quite a few subs. None of them had an impact whatsoever.
Yeah, they tried changing shape.
Yes,
they went to I think at some point in the second half they went to a back four, and then then we started finding a bit more danger, because they lost the centre back, right. So they were a little bit more vulnerable when they were trying to build up at the back. We had a little bit of danger. Their manager realised it wasn't working. He switched back to a back three. There was a real battle going on. And yeah, look, it was one of those games where the excitement wasn't really in the goals and the chances. It was in.
No, it was the tactical battle.
Yeah, it was the tactical battle, and the players working and being smart, looking over the shoulders, covering the angles. It was a really fascinating watch.
But the entertainment-wise, I get why people are complaining, but. Yes, they see it as 2 points drop because you've got to win your home games. And I can see why you would say that. But ultimately, you have to cut your cloth accordingly, don't you? I mean, it's one of those things where it sounds like I'm not making excuses. The only way that these young lads get the experience is playing in games like that, where the following instructions, and the instructions change, and then they change again, and then it evolves during the game. And following those instructions from the sideline, from Derek and John McMahon, they come away with a point. And what was gratifying for me was, at the end, loads of people stayed behind to applaud, because you could not fault any of those 15 players who played a part in that game from a Morecambe perspective. They all put a bloody good shift in.
No, 100%. And look, like you say, you want to win every game, and having a plan to win a game isn't always about playing really on the front foot, attacking football. There are 90 minutes to, you've got to go through periods to manage the game. And to us, on the flip side, a team like Notts County, say if they'd gone 2-0 up, they'd use possession to manage a game. They will knock it between their centre backs, and that's fine. That's a different philosophy, and people have different ways of how they like to play football, and that's why it's an interesting sport to watch. But we've got our philosophy, which is generally when you're coming up against a side like Notts County, let them have stale possession in their own half where they can't hurt you, have that good block like we did in midfield, cut off all the passing options, pick up on the mistakes, as they'll make mistakes. And they did make mistakes. And we were not too far from capitalising on a few of them. And when we
caught them out quite a few times, and just couldn't quite get the. I mean, that's the only criticism I've got is the one thing that we must improve on is in their final third is we have to support the man with the ball, because there was many times when Mayer looked up and he wanted an out ball and all he had was Mellon. And the same with Tom Bloxham. The fact that they were getting it sort of like just inside our half and looking, and Mellon had 2 on him. And then it was like, well, I've got to go back to Eli King, or I've got to go back to Jan, or I've got to give it a fullback and go again. And that's just experience, isn't it? It's just we need to get out a little bit quicker, and that's and we will create more chances. But I think at the moment we're still learning about each other's games.
Yeah, and then that's the thing you've got to know. Like you say, you learn, the players are learning each other's games. They're learning what kind of direction they all kind of want to run in. They're learning to anticipate each other and what kind of passes they all like to play, and what kind of passes they're good or capable, more capable at playing. And that's just that. Look, it's a young side. It took a while to get things together because rightly so, Derek and Greg were working on landing the targets that they really, really wanted. People like Bloxham and Mellon and stuff, and you can see it coming. You can see the gelling happening. It's not going to be immediate. The players have to learn each other, and this isn't a squad that's been playing with each other like Mansfield have for the past 2 or 3 years, and they've been building to this point. This is just basically all assembled over summer, and it's going to take a little bit of time to gel. I can see the progress. You can see it's working. Look at the goal we scored against Walsall. That was such a lovely move, and they're having flashes, they're having moments, but you can, also you got to see, Notts County are some good players, and they're going to make it hard for you. And I thought in fairness to Notts County, when they lost the ball, they got numbers back very, very quickly. I thought
they weren't just as hard.
Yeah, they weren't just as hard. That was credit to them, But that's look, we had a good game plan, and it got us a point. On another day, it could have got us 3. If Mellon managed to squeeze that chance in the bottom corner, that corner we had at the last minute. If somebody's kind of dropped off and stayed at the near post and been there to kind of get on the cutback, maybe we win it. And at the same time, maybe Jody Jones at the start of the second half, maybe he manages to get a little bit more over that half volley and gets it under the bar.
Yeah, that's other than that McGoldrick chance in the first half.
And that
Langstaff had that header, but there was a massive two-handed push on Beddo, which the ref was like, no.
Yeah,
and everybody in the Halo terrace was like, oh, come on. Yeah, he gave a call. It just went like that.
It was a foul, but it wasn't like they split us open with that. It was good ball into the box rather than and a foul to get himself free. I thought that the couple of times they did open us up, it happened a couple of times, but again, they're a good quality side, and sometimes you have to defend last ditch and maybe rely on your keeper a little bit. And but it was a game. It was a game with pretty fine margins. I think a draw was probably fair. I don't think they had overall the chances were relatively even. I thought so.
I agree.
Draw was a fair result. We came out with a really good game plan, and we've got a well-earned point out of it against one of the best sides that we're going to come up against this season.
And from the man of the match point of view, we all of us in the Halo Terrace, who were like 20 of us stood together, said Joel Senior without a shadow of a doubt. But when JJ McKeon got it, I was like, I can see why they've given JJ McKeon that. But then one wag said, and the man of the match awarded to 2 blokes who've been sat in the bar all game, because it did look like it, because Senior was absolutely magnificent. But McKinnon played well. I thought Eli King put a shift in, as did Mickey Mellon. A frustrating game, other than that tackle on Crowley from Adam Mayer. that slide tackle probably got the biggest cheer of the night, didn't it?
I know, yeah. I mean, when we saw a good bit of Dan Crowley doing what he does, running backwards with the ball, running backwards with the ball and passing it sideways. But no, I thought there was a lot of good performances. But like you say, I think Senior was the one that stood out. Their right wing back, Nemane, I'm not quite sure how to pronounce it, so apologies for that. But he's a fantastic player. Whenever I've watched him before, I've been super impressed by him, and I know that County fans, when he signed a new contract, they were very, very happy to hear that. I think a lot of them thought he'd probably be moving on this summer, but they've persuaded him to stay, and good for them, because he's a fantastic player. But Senior did a fantastic job on him. I thought as the game wore on, the main reason. He's just less and less willing to take Cena on.
Turn her on, yeah, that's
yeah,
right.
he just wasn't quite. You could see his kind of confidence going a bit, and it was a fantastic job done in him there. And like you say, King and Songo in that in centre mid, it wasn't a night of them playing pretty football. It was a night of them very rigidly making sure that McGoldrick and Crowley, those in that kind of those kind of inside forward roles, weren't getting any joy. They did a fantastic job of that. So, that was all part of the game plan, and it's worked fantastically. And we've got a well-earned point against a great side.
And I think it's worth mentioning, just as Martin is joining us now. Welcome, Martin.
Hi, Freez.
We're just chatting now, and I'm just at the point now where I'm just going to mention that Joel, get yourself a can. I hope that's an energy drink, not alcohol.
It is energy drink.
Oh, Furosity. Oh, hey, nice move, like it. I'm just going to mention that obviously the Notts County game, it was noticed by quite a few that Jason was actually attending, which obviously as the owner is perfectly entitled to do. And as we understand, he was there. It just happened to coincide with the sort of on and off field budgeting meeting that was taking place. And I know loads of people were saying, "Oh, what's he doing here?" I'm like, "Well, he owns the club. He's entitled to come and watch us." Well, after all, when when we had a prospective buyer, he was there and had 3/4 of a season of being there, and he's not going to buy it. So I just thought it was worth mentioning the fact that people were reading quite a lot into Jason being there, but he was there just to sort of like go through the budget both on and off the field and see how the club was doing. That's correct, Martin, isn't it?
I didn't see him really, to be honest. I didn't spend much time. It's a match day. I'm literally run off my feet. So I don't know. That's at all at board level. So I didn't really have much time on that.
Well, that's the classic. It's above my pay grade.
That's exactly what it is, Freez.
Well, looking ahead, I want to chat a little bit while you're on, Martin. First of all, about how pleased the club are about the crowds.
Yeah, I think the crowds have been excellent. I mean, the season tickets getting on for 2,200. It's a great achievement in League Two. I mean, I think last time we were in League Two in a non-COVID season, the average crowd was about...
Was it?
Sorry?
Was it 600? 600 season
tickets? It was about 650, but the average crowd, including on the day sales, away fans and everything that year, was, I think, 2,400 odd. So to get near that with season ticket holders is a great achievement. And I think it shows how much of a change we've gone through in the last few years as well. We've put a lot of effort into growing that fan base. And it's easy for people to say, "Oh, yeah, well, people support us because we were playing Derby and Chef Wednesdays and stuff like that." But, yeah, they might have come for that reason to start with. But we've shown them what a great club we are when they've come for that experience. And they've bought season tickets this year as well. So it really has been a great effort by everybody concerned, fans, everybody in the club alike, to get that atmosphere. And I think that's what we need here. There's no better sight than the Halo Terrace when it's literally bouncing and getting on top. And I don't know, a referee decision goes against us or something like that. That's when you really hear them. And it's good because it really makes an effect on the team when you hear that noise coming from there, and the roar and the passion. You can see why players react to it. It really is great.
Yeah, it can only help, can't it? And from that point of view, Joel, 4,600 and then 3,860 the other night. Credit to Walsall, they brought 1,300. How many did Notts County bring? About 1,000?
No, it was 649. I seem to think. Let me just check.
I think it was around the 60.
It looked more than that, to be honest. Didn't it? Look more than that. I was quite surprised
they only had 2/3 of the terrace, didn't they?
600.
Yeah, they did, yeah.
Yeah, 647.
Well, in that case, then that's 3,000 home fans, isn't it? So that's brilliant.
Yeah, it was 3,200 home fans. Roughly.
Yeah, that's brilliant for a Tuesday night. That's fantastic. So I thought they brought more than that, to be fair. So that's credit to the home fans, really, isn't it? But things like that, Joel, we really long-term fans, a bit like yourself, are going to be in dreamland thinking, well, we thought we might drop down to sort of 2,000 at home, and yet 3,200, it's going to make a difference in the long term, Joel, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like Martin's kind of touched upon, really, like you get into League One and you think, well, is have all those extra fans? Is it just been about League One? But it's obviously we've made enough. The club has made enough of an impression on them for them to keep wanting to come back, coming into the season back in League Two, and that's just such a positive. And like you say, when it's I mean, it's mental because I've gone through my whole time supporting Morecambe at the Mazuma. Well, obviously I had a couple of years at Christie Park, but I was quite young at the time. But yeah, right here behind Freeze when you're watching pictured. But then for much of that time, there's been some great atmospheres, but I've never seen it this consistently full. There's been there's the odd cup game or something like that when it's been pretty full, but and the odd league game here and there. But to see it this consistently full and it looks like it's going to carry on into League Two again this season, it's an absolute delight and it's really exciting. And then obviously coming into a game like this weekend against Bradford, where Bradford games have always been quite feisty and they've brought a lot, and there's always been a really good atmosphere. And I'm really looking forward to kind of that carrying on into this Saturday and the rest of the season.
Yeah, I think have they sold out 1,600, Martin, for Saturday?
Yeah, they've sold out for Saturday, so it's going to be a bumper crowd. Just going to remind all our fans as well, it is a ticket-only game. Whenever an away club sells out, we do have to make them ticket-only. So there'll be no tickets sold on the day. So tickets are on sale until 1 o'clock in person in the shop and midnight online tomorrow.
Right, yeah. So, and that's this will go out Friday morning. So that's today, isn't it? Really?
It is, yeah, today. So Friday the 18th, tickets off sale in the club shop at 1 o'clock. But like I said, they'll be on sale until midnight online.
Well, let's hope we get a few behind us. We'll chat about the Bradford game now. Interesting stat which has been mentioned on every single EFL highlight show so far is that Bradford last season had more points away from home than they did at home. And all three highlight shows, I'm like, you told us that last time. So it could be an interesting game, Joel.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very, very pleased to see that Derek's already got the Bradford fans a little bit wound up by pointing out, making some very fair points. And that, which to be fair, actually, going back to his time at Bradford, one of the points he's made in an article he's done for the local Bradford paper is that they drew too many games. They drew too many games that they should have won at home, and the crowds turned against him. And to be honest, from what I saw, I went to a couple of games, Bradford games when he was there, and I remember they absolutely battered Bristol Rovers, but just conceded a daft last minute equaliser, and they should have won that game. And I think that was a bit of a recurring feature for them. And obviously, at a club like Bradford, when you've got a large crowd who had a couple of seasons in the Premier League about 20 years ago, and it was the only couple of seasons they've ever spent in the top flight. Obviously, it's gone to their heads a bit, hasn't it? But
I say that every season because it doesn't take long for a Bradford fan to remind you that they were in the. We had Benito Carboni. We were in the Premier League, and I was go for 2 seasons. That's it.
Exactly.
Look at the history of Bradford. Park Avenue with the bigger side up till the Second World War. So
exactly, yeah. So yeah, and and if things go a bit sour, they tend to go very, very sour quite quickly, and that's obviously what's happened there. From as much as I can make out, when the fans turn, they really, really turn, don't they?
Yeah,
so,
they do.
Yeah, so hopefully, it'll be nice, and I think that'll probably just add another little dimension to the fixture, to be honest. And I know they've not started; they don't seem to have started the season playing massively well. At the same time, they've got a very, very good squad. Although they do have a manager who's improving at this level. Because I think League Two is a bit of a different animal to the Premier League, isn't it? But
I think he's learned that. I think he's definitely learned that.
Yeah, you'd think he might have learned that by now, to be fair. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It should just be a really good game. They're a good side. They've got a good squad, Bradford. We'll have to be wary of them, but yeah, hopefully good atmosphere at home to kind of help our team out and hopefully deliver.
If there's any, well, obviously, us being us, we went to a walking football tournament in Torrevieja in May, and we were short of a goalkeeper, and we ended up with like a guy called Joe McGuinness in goals, and he was from Bradford, and he said, "Well, I'll play for you lads, because Morecambe's Bradford by the sea." And I was like, "That'll do for me, Joe." And he was the most dramatic goalkeeper you've ever seen. He was, when Barry Roach used to save it, then fall to the ground. He did it every single time. But he was top lad. So if Joe McGuinness is listening or he's coming on Saturday, make yourself known, and I'll say hello. But the one thing I do like about Bradford is they always travel in, Claret and Amber Army. They always travel in massive numbers, and they're always good humoured. Given the fact that 1,600, there might be, 3 or 4 idiots, but everybody else is always really, really good, and that's something to look forward to, Martin, isn't it? Because obviously we've had our issues with the bigger clubs in the past, apart from people like Sunderland and what have you. But Bradford tends to be always quite a good-natured one, doesn't it? Really?
Yeah, I think we've played Bradford quite a few times in recent seasons, except when we've been in the higher division, to be honest. So. But yeah, it's always a good game. I think there'll be a great atmosphere. Like I say, our support's been great this year, so we know that. I'm going to say about a 4,800 crowd, so we'll beat the one that we had against Walsall. I think
Bradford being Bradford, that we could get a few more of the Saturday home fans back, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, with the nature of the fixture, we've had to put a few restrictions on purchases this week to ensure the safety and security of our home end, to make sure we don't get away fans in there and things like that. So you've got to have been to 3 games at the stadium last season, or be a season ticket holder this year to get your tickets. So he's not one where you can just rock up for the first time, unfortunately. As much as we like to encourage new fans, we have to make sure that it is home fans in the home area only. So, but yeah, it'll be a good-natured fixture, good support from both fans. I know there's quite a lot of Bradford fans local, including some of our sponsors as well. So,
enormous.
Yeah, so it'll be an interesting game, and hopefully we'll carry on the unbeaten run at the Mazuma.
Yeah, I was going to say we've got 4 points so far this season, and all right, that'll be our 3rd home game out of the 4 games we've played. But 4 points from the home fixtures, Joel. That's a pretty good start. Let's keep it going.
Yeah, I think as we've seen over the last few years, it really started in the COVID season when there weren't any fans, but kind of continuing from that, we started in our first season in League One, both under Robbo and under Derek, we were stronger at home, and last season, obviously, we were quite a lot stronger at home than away. Although that was, I guess that wasn't really saying much given our away form. But now we were a lot stronger at home, and we just generally looked a lot more competitive at home. And it's nice. We want our away form to be better than it has been over the past year or so. But at the same time, ultimately, your home form is more important. It's where most of your fans are seeing you. I mean, I remember for a long time under Jim Bentley, we always seemed to have a bit of a better record away from home. And obviously, look, all that matters is we get the points on the board. I don't really care whether we do it at home or away. But ideally, it's going to be you do it at home a bit more. So, it's really positive to see that we're still cracking on with the home form. Like you both said, as much as I like taking them with Bradford fans a bit, they've always brought a fantastic atmosphere to the Mazuma. Lots of fun memories of games, over the years, even going back to Christie Park. I think that first game we ever had with them in the Football League was a good one. I remember Rennie Howe scoring an absolute screamer to win it in like 2009 or something like that. That was a hell of a goal. So,
absolute screamer.
I know, that was incredible. I think it must have been about 11 or 12 at the time. And yeah, very fond memories of that. So, like you say, just looking forward to it. Should be a really good game.
Rennie Howe.
Exactly.
What a crap song that was. Who thought of that? So yeah, happy days there, Rennie Howe. That was a great finish. I remember that one now. Yeah, loving heck. Happy days indeed. Right. Well, before we move on, I could talk about selection on Saturday because we only got a very, very brief glimpse of Mr. Chutonda coming on at left back, but he looked quite lively, didn't he?
Yeah, he looks a good player. And look, Gilliam are going to be aiming for promotion this season. Look at the money they've put into the squad and the caliber of manager that they've got and the caliber of players that they've signed. And Neil Harris wanting to keep him there. And I think that that says something about Tutonda's quality. Neil Harris wouldn't want to keep him if he wasn't a good player. So I think it's a really positive signing. And at the same time, he's come in just as Joel Senior's put on a performance like that at left back on Tuesday night.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
it's a headache, but as the cliche goes, it's a good headache to have. And this is what you want in a squad. You want players performing well. You want them, with their performances, basically metaphorically knocking on the manager's door. But this is how you get the best out of your squad. Lots of players competing, doing their best to try and keep their place in the side. And hopefully, that's the thing. Having a player like Tutonda in the squad, I think, can only be a good thing. I think will, help us throughout the season. I think definitely.
And a quick mention. Nice to see Jack Taylor come on and have an effect because obviously it's really the first time we've seen him since the Exeter injury, which I thought was a little unfortunate for him. He's been very, very unlucky with injuries, but always looks like he's got something about him, Jake, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's a fantastic player, and we saw, I think, when he was last in League Two with Port Vale, when he was fit and firing, he was probably one of the better midfielders in League Two. And I think it's a position that we've got some real good depth and quality in. People like Eli King, McKinnon's already shown himself to be very good. Jacob Davenport's a fantastic player, and now with Taylor coming back, I think we're really well stocked in centre mid, players who can create, who can put themselves about a little bit. So there's a lot of competition for places there, and it's good just to have even more quality that we can bring to the side.
I think the only one that we've not really seen much of at the moment through lack of opportunity, but now apparently a slight injury, is Snoopy, Charlie Brown.
Yeah, I know he had an injury the other week, but I think he was back in. Was he back in? I can't remember if he was back in the squad on Tuesday, but
no, Tuesday he wasn't. No,
yeah,
wasn't.
But yeah, and that's the thing. Hopefully, look, it's a long season. There'll be a few cup games as well that he'll have a chance to prove himself, and hopefully we'll see a bit more of him. It's a squad game in the promotion season back in League Two. We have people like McAlinden coming into the side and having an impact, and
yeah.
Hopefully he'll be, I'm sure he'll be eager to kind of stake his claim, and when he gets the opportunity, do what he can.
I've got this image of Charlie Brown in the dressing room, clutching Linus's blanket, trying to get better. For those who know that's you'll get that. Sorry, crap joke. Move on. Thanks for laughing, Martin. Right, Martin, let's chat about what's going on off the field, because obviously that's why you're here. And you've been a busy chap, haven't you?
Yeah, I think we've had
I noticed there was another announcement today about flooring.
Yeah, so we announced our shirt sleeve sponsor today. Another good partnership for us. Sky Bets actually gave up their shirt sleeve rights this year as part of the new Sky deal that's been agreed with the EFL. And it gave an opportunity for us to get another business on the sleeve. And I've got to say, John and the team at Right Floor jumped at the chance as soon as I spoke to them. So it was a great opportunity. They're local guys. Business is based in Manchester, but they're from Morecambe themselves. And we see them here, season ticket holders in the suite every week. And it was another great partnership to be able to get over the line.
And obviously, the rest of the commercial side's been going well. I was talking to Dale, and he was saying you've been that busy, and you were, shall we say, you were expecting to have to work a little bit harder when we got relegated, and it's actually been, it's been still quite popular. Is that right?
Yeah, we've been popular. I think over the last few years we've grown our presence commercially quite a lot, and looked at what we can offer partners and the exposure that we have, and that's worked really well. I mean, I've not got the final results in for last year yet, but actually the first year that we were in League One, we had the second highest exposure for a front of shirt partner out of the whole league. And when you're up against the likes of Sunderland's, the Chef Wednesdays, things like that, you're like, wow, this is really well. But we have ways. We've had a really good media team that helps us do that with Ryan and Harry and Dale. They get it, and they really do get the impact commercially it can have, and they're great. They were all great to work with, and Dale now is looking at new ways that can help me get that message out as well. And it's all about working together and making sure those partnerships last. And luckily, we've got some really, really good partners on this year. The front of shirt, we had 3 or 4 companies that were tendering for it. So
was it a deliberate thing to go with Omnia, or was it just highest bidder, or what?
No, we looked at the partners, what it would give, and to see what there is. Omnia came up with a great commercial package to support us, and it's a good partnership. They got football, but they've been a business that's got a huge turnover. They're a big business with a national footprint, and the package that they put in front of us was the best out of the 3 that we were the mulling over in the end. And it's great to have them on board, and they're really wanting to connect. It's not just we're sticking our logo on the front of your shirt and that's it. They're really wanting to connect and see how they can help local businesses, see how they can help us as a business. And you have to look at all these things. It's not necessarily highest bidder. You've got to look at what the overall package is. I'm not saying they weren't.
The added value.
It is. I'm not saying they weren't the highest bidder, but
you see, you did answer the question in a politician kind of way there.
But yeah, it is the overall package that we do look at and what we can bring in, and the term of it as well. We've got a long-term partnership with Omnia. The first year is for the front of shirt, but it is an ongoing partnership that's longer than year 1. So we have to look at it from a multi-year option as well.
And what about the? Going to the club shop, there's been lots of changes, lots of new stuff on there. How's that going?
Yeah, club shop's had a really good start to the season. The fastest selling shirts we've ever had. I think the last time I looked at it, we were getting on nearly 1,000 shirts sold just over a month after release. So really, really positive to be able to go that fast. That's about 50% of last year's sales already done in a month. So really good.
When it was released, I said straight away, God, that looks like Liverpool of the 70s. And then Liverpool pulled their kit out, and it's exactly the same. So it's a popular design, and I can see why people have gone for it, because it's sort of quite classic, isn't it, Joel?
Yeah, I like it. I've got a fondness for black socks, but I think the red socks look really nice this year.
Oh no, I'm with you on that one. It has to be red, white, black for me. That's me.
Man United is red, white, black.
That is the problem.
Yeah,
but I mean, that's the thing I like about our kits over the years. Actually, there is a kind of a base of red, white, and black, but it's interchangeable. I mean, it means we can mix the kits up each different year, and it's nice having that variety. But like, I really like the away kit this year. Actually, I usually think white away kits, if you're playing red, are a bit pointless, because obviously you play against so many teams that you can't wear them against, like Stevenage or Cheltenham or Exeter, etc. But I actually really like this one this year with the black sleeves. I think it's fantastic. That's the one I've actually gone for this year. But yeah, really, really nice to see the kits doing really well.
Yeah, I mean, Carl from the Terrace was the designer behind it all. So they actually did the design on the shirt. They put a few different designs in front of us. I saw the white one and went, I like that. Ben went, I like the white one. We then showed Les and like, white? What do you mean white? I've got to wash white. We said we'd buy him a bit of extra Daz this year, but it wasn't popular with Les from a white point of view. He prefers the darker kits, but when he saw the kit, he's like, that's nice.
Yeah, it is. I must admit, I'm a fan, quite a fan of the white one myself as well, because the old one is just a bit too Liverpool. And I do take what you say that red, white, and black was united in the 70s, but they've mixed it up as well. They tend to go for mainly red and white now, and they lose their. Occasionally they have black socks, but since they've gone back to Adidas, they haven't. So I mean, you think the George Best classic United socks were black with the sort of like a red top and two white rings round them, which was the classic, yeah. So I do take that point, but if you look at sort of Morecambe kits, particularly since kits got into this sort of, what am I going to call it, sort of the modern era of not cotton anymore, which was probably about sort of like the early 70s. We have predominantly always been sort of red, black and white rather than red, white and black. So I always sort of like predominantly like the red and black as the more. But I do understand that obviously historically we were always red and white. And it always brasses me off, and it used to brass me off. It brassed me off in the 80s, and it brassed me off when we had Kev Ellison. When we went back to the Arsenal red with white sleeves, because I absolutely, utterly hate that, because it's got no black on it. So I'm like, every time we come out with that, once every 10 seasons, I'm like, I'm not,
I'll bear that in mind, because we're looking at next season's kit already here. Freeze.
Well, you see, the thing is, and you have to bear this in mind.
Make it like Arsenal now, just to wind him up.
Yeah, but I'm explaining why, because obviously everybody knows my other team's Chelsea. We have my best mates with the team's Tottenham. I've got another best mates team, and even the lad who we know who's an Arsenal fan says I still don't like it when Morecambe play in an Arsenal shirt. So it's like,
nice this year though. It is very.
Yeah, it is. I like it, but it's unique. It's absolutely unidentifiable apart from everybody with Arsenal. Now, the other thing that I always say about the kits is I would always stick with some version, just like Bournemouth do, of red and black stripes, but I'd have white shorts, because I think yes, it's AC Milan. I'm aware of that, but we played in that in a couple of seasons in the sort of early 80s, and it was a fantastic kit. It washed really well, Les. And we had red and black socks, and I thought it looked really, really smart. But it's down to personal taste, isn't it? And to be fair, if you're telling me that you've sold twice as many shirts as last season, and a lot of them is the home shirt, then the Liverpool brand's working, isn't it?
I think a lot goes into shirt design now. So
yeah,
I know even just 3 or 4 years ago, we'd get manufacturers that would just say, right, there's a choice of 3 kits.
Yeah.
And pick your kit that you want. And it'd be virtually like shopping in the Argos catalogue.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll have that one. And they're all the same. And I remember, I think it was my first season here, came out, and I think we were playing Stevenage. And we were both in the exact same training kit.
Yeah, that's how we were. And all the training tops and all the management looked the same, didn't they? Yeah, you're right.
And you just need to be a bit different now, and I think that's where the partnership with Terrace has come in invaluable. They're a brand that's at the height of supporter fashion, so they know what people are buying, so from different clubs and things like that. So they can even say what the people of Morecambe like by looking at the buying trends and stuff like that. So we took a lot of advice off them. It wasn't necessarily a matter of what I liked or what I liked.
No.
It's they can advise of what's going to sell, and it's really important that players are comfortable in it and things like that. But it's also got to be a kit that people want to buy, and I think that's where they came in. And with the design, it's a great design, but I think the club shop now goes beyond kit. I mean, looking at it on Saturday, on match days, and you look and go, oh, we've had a busy Saturday. I bet we've sold loads of shirts. Then I look at the product breakdown of what's sold, and it's less than 50% shirts. It's a hoodie, a t-shirt, cups, clocks, chopping boards. I think there's about 6 different pin badges that there's in there now. It really is, the selection in there is just amazing. And I think if you go in there and want something Morecambe, you will come out with something that you want rather than just buying something because for the sake of buying it. They really
Well, I quite like that sort of red and black flecky training shirt that they come out in. That's really smart. Is that? Really,
yeah,
really
that
smart.
was a great one from Jeremy. That sold really well for them.
Yeah, it's good. It's really nice. Is that? And it's just something a little bit different. But I'm with Joel. I quite like, I'm a traditionalist. I quite like the away kit. I like the away kit. I like the away shirt. It's a little bit different. I liked last season's away shirt in that sort of purpley with the gold sort of trim and stuff like that. I think we've had some really nice kits lately. I think they've been some of our best ones. I like the one with the red shirt with the white sash across it. I thought that was a nice one when we were in League One. I mean, you could discuss this all night, couldn't you, Joel? But don't choose Arsenal. Sorry, what did you say?
I'm
74. Sorry. The 74 one as well, the retro one that's been bought.
Oh yeah, I was going to say, how's that going? Because I've still got the original. The Umbro, when Peter McGregan was chairman, he did 20 years ago. He did a long sleeve version, and I've still got it, and it still fits me. And it's got Jimmy Sutton's number on the back and the actual proper Umbro badge and the Morecambe badge. But the short sleeve ones, how have they been going?
We're on our second reorder of them now.
Brilliant, because loads of people have bought them, and I went into the festival market a couple of weeks ago to get some stuff, and the bloke on the sweet stall was wearing it, and I was like, bloody hell, it's nice to see that. It's fantastic because it brings back happy memories, doesn't it? So
yeah, and I think that's the thing now. You walk around Morecambe now, and it's not Man United or Liverpool shirts or anything you're seeing. It's Morecambe shirts, and whether it be retro, whether it be modern. I mean, you go to the community sports and look at the soccer schools they're doing. They're turning up in Morecambe kits.
Yeah,
people are coming from a young age. They're enjoying it here, and the fan base is only going to grow. We're doing the right things. We're getting the fans engaged. We're getting the kids engaged with the activities that community sport do, with the flag bearers, with everything like that going into schools. I know the players went up today to do to meet the kids that were on the summer holiday camp that's run by community up at Mossgate. Faz and a few other lads went up there to see them, and it really makes such a difference getting the kids at such a young age and getting them engaged. It really is good.
Yeah, it's a good thing, and like you say, we'll be in a situation maybe in sort of like 4 or 5 years' time where we've got a new owner and we need a new stand down the Tyson Fury side because it's But look, what's going to happen there is that Furosity is going to make so much money for Tyson that he'll just give us a stand down that side because you're promoting it for nothing. So it's about.
But yeah,
what does it taste like that anyway?
This one's really nice. That one, it can't say what it tastes like. It tastes like another drink. But it's like
you don't want to say that then.
A tropical fruit drink that's recently been rebranded, shall we say?
Right, okay, got you.
It's really nice, really, really nice. It's not got that massive sugar feeling that most energy drinks have. So, yeah, it's really good.
You probably need that coming on to talk to me and Joel. To be fair, so.
Well, we're still open at the moment. The shop's open tonight for the academy. So we're kitting all the academy kits out tonight. So everybody's
I wonder what you were still doing there.
Yeah, it's don't usually work late at night, but yeah, we're still there and servicing all the academy kids at the moment.
Well, hence the drink was needed then.
And the drink was definitely needed.
Right, Joel, you got any update for us from the trust?
Nothing really new since last week. Obviously, just a reminder about the AGM on the 7th of September. I think I think there might actually be a vote this year for board members. Ooh. So we'll be sending some details out about that over the next couple of weeks. And yeah, you can come along, please. It's at the club. It's at the local choice suite, and should be a good night.
And that's about it for this week. We've seemed to have covered just about every topic that was going to come up. We shall return next week, hopefully with a positive, a positive performance against Bradford would be nice. I'm not necessarily bothered about an 8-0 win, but
I am. Derek cupping his ear to the away end.
Yeah, that actually that would be funny. But like I've said, I have quite an affinity with the people from Bradford. I think they're good sorts, and they follow the team. But it's one of them things where you've got to put that aside and say, yeah, we might be Bradford by the sea, and we might they used to be. I'm sick of people telling me Telegraph and Argus used to have an office on Victoria Street. I'm like, I know. You tell us that every time you come, and that's because that many people used to come on holiday. That they used to say, "Oh look, I've been on holiday," and tell the Telegraph in Argus on Victoria Street, and they put it in the paper back at home, pictures of them. Oh yeah. So I was like, I think those days are gone now. But anyway, never mind.
It's the same company as the Visitor. That's why they had the office.
Well, yeah, exactly. So there you go. So this has been ShrimpNet number 3 of the season. It's been jolly pleasant to talk to you. Now I don't look like Tintin with the sort of like sun shining on the my lack of hair, because the sun's finally got out of my room here. Thank you for listening, stroke watching. Thank you to Martin for coming on. And we shall hopefully see you on the terraces, or if in Joel's case, you'll see you in the stand, throwing prawn sandwiches at people. And we'll see you hopefully next week.
See you next week, Freeze.